It's 35 days to Dubai Expo 2020, connecting minds, creating the future. Welcome to News Blitz on ZTN. These are stories making headlines. Zimbabwe teachers' pay rise set for November. Manhunt for Epworth arsonist son-in-law. Hot dogs can take 36 minutes off your life. We'll tell you how. And in sport, football legend George Shire burial set for tomorrow. As Zimbabwean schools reopen following long periods of closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic, an unresolved salary dispute between teachers and government is worrying the country's legislature. Since last year, teachers and the government have had a series of inconclusive negotiations. Teachers want a return to their 2018 United States dollar-denominated salaries, while government insists it can only pay what it affords. Primary and Secondary Education Parliamentary Portfolio Committee Chairperson Priscilla Misihaira-Bwimushonga says the issue should be addressed urgently.
The government and unions need to sort out this impasse as a matter of urgency. And we indicated in there that a delay in sorting it out will mean that we are going to have these kinds of problems that you are talking about, where teachers are threatening that they are not going to go back. We are saying we need to come up with a negotiating forum that recognizes that out of about 200,000 public servants, 140,000 are teachers. So you can't ignore such a sector in terms of negotiation.
Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare Minister Professor Paul Mavima admits their salaries are low but says they are well represented on the negotiations platform.
There is no way in which government is going to allow the education sector under the current structure, the education sector be negotiating separately from the other civil servants until such a time as to when we have set maybe a separate structure, maybe a commission just dealing with issues of education. As of now, they have to come under the Apex Council.
He added that the next round of salary negotiations for civil servants will be in October or November.
We have basically said they should meet quarterly. So they just met this month basically, and so we expect them to meet again maybe around October, November there.
Police in Harare have launched a manhunt for a man who allegedly set a house on fire, killing his girlfriend's mother who was asleep inside. Crispin Chamada of Overspill in Epworth is wanted in connection with the death of Esteri Mafukidze, who was asleep alongside her two daughters and son when he allegedly torched the house. The two daughters sustained serious injuries and are receiving treatment at Selimugabe Hospital in Harare, while the son escaped unhurt. According to the police, the suspect allegedly locked the door from the outside before setting ablaze the now deceased home. The deceased daughters were rescued by neighbors who heard screaming and rushed to the scene. Police are yet to establish the motive behind the heinous act, and Harare Province Police spokesperson Inspector Tendai Mwanza spoke to ZTN.
Police in Epworth are looking for a suspect, Crispin Chamada of Overspill, who is being sought over the alleged death of Esther Mafukidze, aged 37, of the same neighborhood. It is alleged that the suspect went to the now deceased house, whereupon he set it on fire after locking the door from outside, whilst the now deceased was sleeping inside with their two daughters. The suspect is said to be the boyfriend to one of the now deceased daughters. Neighbors heard some screaming noise before rushing to the scene. The two daughters were rescued, but after suffering serious burns, whilst their mother was unfortunate not to escape from the inferno.
ZTN spoke to the deceased 11-year-old son, who narrated how he escaped.
Around 3 a.m. ndo pakazotanga imba kutsva, asi pano pakazoonekwa pane chigubhu chefuel 2 liter chepetrol. Saka tinongosuspecta kuti petrol ndiyo yakaita sei yakadirwa madhoo kuti moto uzotange kunyika imba yese. Vakasurvivha vana vairi vasikana vairi asi vari pastate yakati shati.
Apologies for that. Our news crew caught up with the deceased family spokesperson who narrated the tragic event. Two suspected teenage carjackers have been arrested in Mutare, eastern Zimbabwe, after their stolen getaway car crashed as they tried to flee a mob of touts who wanted to apprehend them. Darlington Rugo and Takuzwa Nyamana, both aged 18, of Nyamana village under Chief Zimunya, were also trying to evade a police checkpoint at Hot Springs in Nyanyadzi when they were involved in the accident. The two had been on the police wanted list for a spat of car thefts in the city. Police recovered a Toyota Altezza, which the two were fleeing in and had allegedly stolen last week, and removed the registration number plates. Police Criminal Investigations Department spokesperson, Detective Inspector Portia Chino, confirmed the arrest.
The Republic Criminal Investigation Department CID has arrested Darlington Rigo and Takuzwa Nyamana, both aged 18 years, of Nyamana village near Mutare. On 14 August 2021, Rigo was arrested after they were involved in a road traffic accident while trying to evade the police checkpoint at Hot Springs in Nyanyadzi. The accused persons were subsequently arrested. Upon search, they were found in possession of a bunch of car keys, door keys, and a wallet containing different cards.
He became popular when one of his art pieces was purchased by leading hip-hop mogul Jay-Z in 2019, but he's always been in the game, grinding with stealth. Takuchi Ambakwe spoke to contemporary artist Mofa Takadiwa and got him to reveal more about his art.
In Zimbabwe, very few art forms are given much attention as music. If one is into non-performing art, they remain on the fringes unless they pull off something really extraordinary. Despite the amount of effort required, Zimbabwe's contemporary artists are leaving lasting impressions on the global stage. They're a complete opposite to most of our musicians who find the going tough. Mofa Takadiwa is one such contemporary artist who is sure to take over from veterans such as Dominic Benura. During a tour of his art space in Bari, Moffat explained why he opted to use found materials for his works.
It goes way back to college, around 2006 when I was still at Harare Poly studying arts. You know, that was the same time where the country was also passing through difficult times with no materials, or rather they were very expensive, out of reach for students. And in a way, we were pushed to submit assignments at college and would rather go to the dumping sites, and the bin became a source of materials.
When we arrived at the space, we found him and his team working on an art piece titled Witchcraft Rethinking Power, set for exhibition at the Craft Contemporary Museum in California.
So in this theme, I want us to rethink and reimagine power as people from the global south. There are many ways of thinking power, I think, in these contemporary times. And a lot of first world countries have power. And we have been subjects of the first world countries under colonialism, colonization, and so on. But this after colonization, we are in the independent era, we are born free. So it's important for us to think of how we can also maybe achieve power.
He also spoke about the substance of the materials used for the artwork, which has over 30 pieces.
I've used a lot of old computer keyboards, which are being fast replaced by maybe laptops and other new models. And for me, when you're talking about the old, we are talking about maybe the old colonial administration and so on, which have been very instrumental in writing a very wrong narrative about us. So I destroyed that, I unplugged that.
But why is visual art so difficult to comprehend, one might ask? National Gallery of Zimbabwe Curator for Education and Public Programming, Livingstone Muchefa, says there is need to educate the masses.
What we should also embrace, or what we should also work towards, is more public, programming to educate, citizens as to how critical this profession is.
Besides Moffat, there are many other Zimbabwean visual artists shining on the global stage, but are not yet celebrated at home. These include Portia Zavaira, whose works are breaking auction records, Virginia Chiwota, Gareth Nyunduru, and Admire Kamudzengere, amongst many others. Taku Chiambakwe for ZTN News.
We move now to news beyond our borders. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa says he wants to push for more investment and vaccinations in Africa. President Ramaphosa is in Germany for a 2-day visit to meet with Chancellor Angela Merkel. The two leaders will discuss a range of bilateral and regional issues as part of a 2-day schedule. President Ramaphosa will also participate in a meeting of African leaders, a gathering known as the G20 Compact with Africa. At least 13 United States military service personnel have been killed and 18 injured in a bomb attack at the Kabul airport that killed at least 60 Afghan civilians and wounded many more. The 13th fatality was confirmed by the Pentagon late on Thursday. It's believed to be the most United States troops killed in Afghanistan in a single incident since 30 personnel died when a helicopter was shot down in 2011 of August. You may want to skip the toppings on your next hot dog or skip it altogether. Health researchers at the University of Michigan have found that eating a single hot dog could take 36 minutes off your life. In their study published in the journal Nature Food, researchers looked at 5,853 foods in a person's diet and measured their effects in minutes of healthy life gained or lost. The team came up with an index that calculates the net beneficial or detrimental health burden in minutes of healthy life associated with a serving of food. Up next is sports news.
Ungenza ingxenye yakho ukuzivikela wena losebenza labo njalo unqambele ukumemetheka kwe-COVID-19 ngokuhlatshwa. Amajekiseni e-COVID-19 awala ngozi njalo ayasebenza. Ayehlisa amathuba okubanjwa yilo umkhuhlane. Be a workplace hero and get vaccinated today.
The funeral service of the late football legend George Shire is currently underway in Glenora. We now cross over for an update from our correspondent Chidochashe Manua.
It is a very sad Friday afternoon here in Glenora A, where people are gathered to commemorate the life of Zimbabwe's most celebrated soccer legend, George Mastermind Shire. As of now, family and friends have left for Doves, where they are collecting the body of the legend, and they are set to pass by Mbari, Rufaro Stadium, on their way back in honor of the late icon. Family and friends are also set to have a service here at the family homestead.
The two Zimbabwe cricket senior teams are in action today at Takashinga Cricket Club. The Lady Chevrons are playing Thailand in the first T20 International. In Dublin, the men's team are taking on Ireland, also in their first T20 International. We're now joined by Ntando Nsigane for an update. Afternoon, Ntando. It's a cricket day, but the news is all on Sean Williams. Tell us more.
It is indeed a cricket day today, but then again, the main question is, how are the men going to handle their games in Ireland, considering that Sean Williams just walked away? So, well, rumors in the streets are saying that he was not happy with how the coaching was going on, and he felt disrespected. I mean, we also got comments from David Coulter, the former Minister of Sports and Education, saying that he feels like the coach is not doing enough. He feels like the coach is not at all perfect for the men's team. And also, Sean Williams shared the same sentiment. That's why he walked. But then again, if we take a look at the current team, we have perfect bettors like Evans, we are hoping that they pull up and fill in the spot that Sean Williams left. But then now taking it back to home, the ladies are playing at Takashinga. They're playing Thailand in their first T20 international game. And we had previously, in the previous game, we had Chipo pulling through a 50 straight out of maternity. So we are hoping that is going to go well. Well, according to rumors circulating in the streets, they're saying if Thailand bets first, then our women stand a chance of winning. But if they bet first, the chance is not that much. But then we hoping that everything will go well and our women will represent us well, and also the men are going to fill in the sport and men up.
And that's it from us today on News Blitz. Stay connected with us on Twitter at ZTN News, Instagram at ZTN, and of course our website ztn.co.zw for these stories and more updates. Stay with us for World in 5 coming up shortly.